But anyway, so Alan Ramadan, we used to sail against each other way back in the early 90s. And one time, very briefly, I was telling Alan about I decided to get back into this world of America's Cup and launch a challenge, 1995 America's Cup Challenge. And he said, how much do you need? And I said, I think 25 to 30 mil. And this is during a recession here in this country. In fact, globally, that's the recession we had to have in that early days. So money was tight. It was for a sporting contest, 25 million bucks, huge, way out of the park. And we came in after the race and having a beer at the Royal Brighton Yacht Club, and on the back of a beer coaster, he started to map out potentially how we could raise $25 million in this recession for a yacht race. And I said, Alan, I just love this. You've got to get involved with this damn thing. And he had a company here in Melbourne, and one thing led to another, and he headed up our whole technology thing. We went out to market and tendered, would you believe the audacity of it, tendered in terms of sponsorship. And Sun Microsystems won the tender for the technology, and that was effectively a $10 million investment. And one thing led to another. That was the boat, 1995, won Australia America's Cup. The boat broke up and sank in about 40 seconds. We went on to beat all the other challenging nations except New Zealand. New Zealand went on to win the America's Cup against US defender, skippered by a man called Dennis Conner. But on the internet, that was the biggest thing on the internet, the sinking of that boat, other than the moon landing. Alan told me, and Alan doesn't exaggerate. And then he went across and did a short course, effectively an MBA course at Stanford. And he said, John, I've been trying to get shares in this company called Netscape, and I can't. This is 1995, the latter part of 95. And he said, we've got to get into this thing called the internet. And I said, how do you spell that? And at any rate, we started, effectively co-founded a company called Quokka Sports, which we then went to Silicon Valley with, and it became a major player globally in terms of broadcasting, as we said, total sports immersion from the inside looking out. And that was a company which we thought was probably 18 months ahead of our time, but in hindsight, we're at least 10 years ahead of our time. We're trying to push entertainment down copper wire instead of broadband. That was probably the differential. But it was one hell of a ride. Alan in Silicon Valley, we started the company here in Melbourne, had the choice, couldn't do it in Melbourne way back. We were talking about the late 90s, 1996, long time ago, and we said either London, New York, or San Francisco. Anyway, decided to set up in San Francisco, and Alan was home. That was it. Never to return. His accent's changed. You just, other than the DNA of the Ramadan family, you would never know that he's Aussie, but he is. Dual passport, love it. And one thing's led to another. Alan's just been great. He's done his own thing with Adobe systems and a whole bunch of stuff, and now this organisation, Play Bigger,